Okay, so basically, as we're looking at how to do, how to add your Kindle ebook, I need to go ahead and update a Kindle ebook that I have. So I'll go this way. You're going to click on this Kindle ebook here. I'm going to go in here and we'll start at the first page. And we should have done, you can follow the instructions to go through all these steps. And again, you really want to make sure there are no typos and make sure there is no space right here because that will leave a space between the end of your title and the colon that Amazon automatically adds between your title and subtitle. Series and edition, most people won't need those, most first-time authors. Primary author or contributor, if you have a foreword or an illustrator or anything else, you edit there. And then your description is here. What you want, with most books on Amazon, you're only going to see the first couple sentences by default. If someone wants to see more, they need to click see more. I can show you that now. Amazon wants to take a super long time. So you really just want to make sure you've got a good hook in your first section. Here we are sort of taking the credibility of Bob Proctor, since he wrote our foreword and he's quite famous in self-help and prosperity circles. So we've made that bold and put it right at the top. And then the other thing that's important about your keyword is that you're using, we don't have a lot of keywords in this one right now. Discover joy. So for this one, so daily devotional is one of our keywords, daily devotional 2022. And one of the best way for you to get your keywords is just to go on Amazon, which for some reason is not working right now. And I will have a separate video about how to write a great book blurb, because that is really a skill in itself. That is something I normally charge publishing companies about $300 to $400 to write a single book blurb. So that's definitely something, if you want to try to write it yourself, you can, but it is definitely a skill that not even people who write books necessarily have. A lot of these are professionally published writers, and they're still writing book blurbs that give away too much of their book, especially if it's a novel. Sometimes they give away every single plot point, and you really don't want to be doing that. But anyway, you're going to add your description there. You should own the copyright. If you're doing a public domain work, that's a whole other thing. And then your 7 search keywords. So these are the keywords that you will also want to have in here, and in some cases have in your title. I don't recommend keyword stuffing for your title. I think you should come up with a title that makes the most sense for your book. And if you are doing a kind of how-to guide, then sure, you can put that in there. But you don't necessarily need to have, it will help to have your keywords in there, but I think it'll hurt your book more to have a very awkward title that has 5, that's like daily devotional for women 2022, daily meditation for women. That shouldn't really be in your title. And we'll also have a separate post up on how to choose categories. This is, you can see these are kind of strange categories, right? Hermetism and Rosicrucianism, stewardship and giving. The way you're doing this is to figure out which categories, and these do apply to the book. You don't want to put your book in categories that it doesn't have anything to do with, but where there's the least amount of competition to help you get a bestseller, whether an Amazon hot new release or an actual #1 bestseller in the category. So if you're going up against, Dave Ramsey in a Christian life thing, you're probably not going to beat him because the guy's selling, thousands of copies of his book. But if you're going up against some other sort of random self-published authors, then you've got a good chance. And I'll have a whole post on how to do that. You can also check out Dave at Kindlepreneur. He's great in terms of all the ranking and how to do the category stuff yourself. It's not hard to do, but it is a little annoying and a little time consuming, as you got to go through all the categories one by one and just kind of try to figure out, check out the ranking of the first book and the top 10 and the top 10th book, and see where you fit in there. Okay, so that's its own thing. And then the age and grade range, you don't need to add that unless it's relevant to your book, of course. And as we move on to the next page, this is where you're going to be uploading your ebook manuscript. You always want to have DRM on. That protects your book from people copying it. Okay, so I've already uploaded this. There's no spell check errors, but we did find a typo, so I am uploading a new version to fix the typo. So very simple, and now you should have already checked all this stuff. And so this we're going to do KDP 2.0. I do EPUB 3.0 for other readers. The KDP is not good at it yet. Not as good at it, I should say. And this book has a lot of specific formatting and weird fonts and stuff, which is not normal. Ideally, when you upload your book, you won't have any errors. It is possible there are errors. There can be errors with your table of contents or, you know, who knows, whatever else. And then here you upload your, so this is processing. That's going to take a minute. Here you upload your cover file, which you see I've already done, so I don't need to do it again. But, you know, again, it'll tell you if there's any errors. You can see their cover guidelines here. 2560 by 1600 is that size. And I just will say the one thing, please do not ever use this cover creator. The covers in it are heinous. You can spot them from a mile away. The font choices are terrible. They look wildly unprofessional. I can't really even believe that Amazon thinks those are a good idea. It's almost like a way to put a scarlet letter on people who aren't getting their own cover design done. So just never, ever, never, never, under any circumstances, send me an email before you hit that cover creator button. And then what you're going to need to do is launch the previewer. Now it says it's converting our file, and that could take a few minutes. So we'll click that, and this wheel will just spin for a minute while we wait for it. So I'll go ahead and pause the video for now. Oh, that was fast. I didn't even have to pause. Okay, so you see here our cover is slightly off size, which is okay in this instance. This book is actually a square book that we've resized for Kindle. So the Kindle, because different tablet sizes and phone size and whatever else, we're not too worried about that. And what you need to do here is go through every single page of your book. And I know that is painful. Since I've already gone through this book, I don't need to do it again. Let me see, we got our table of contents, and those should all work and take you to where they go. And yeah, you just want to make sure you're, like I said, this one has a lot of custom fonts and stuff. So make sure that everything looks the way it's supposed to look on all the pages. And just so you know, what it looks like here is not exactly what it's going to look like on people's readers and people's phones. You can switch up here to go to phone. It's somewhat close, but fonts don't render the same way. Drop caps don't tend to render quite the same. And then you can do the Kindle e-reader as well. Yeah, okay, sometimes that does that. Anyway, I know that this book is fine, so as soon as you're done, you can just go back to book details. You can also play with, hold on. This font size here, because as you know, people reading on Kindles can change the font size to anything they want. So you want to make sure your book still works when it's bigger. And then my table of contents here works, and you can jump to whatever point. So that's great. Okay, so I'll go back to my book details. No spelling error, manuscript check complete. And now here is your ISBN. Your ISBN, I have purchased an ISBN for this book. I will also be writing a blog post on this. I have so many blog posts to write. You can purchase an ISBN for your book. It's a registry number that puts it, it makes your book official. It's out in the system. This ISBN is always attached to your book. For an ebook, or if you're publishing exclusively through Amazon, you don't need to purchase an ISBN. You can get a 10-pack of them for about, I want to say $300. So they're not super cheap, but if you are going to get them and you think you ever might republish your book or do a second book, you need a different ISBN for your ebook and for your hardcover book and for your paperback book. So you'll need 3 just for the one. So it does make sense to get a 10-pack if you think you're ever going to be doing any other book, or if you make significant changes to your book, or let's say get a foreword written. If you change typos like I'm doing now, there's nothing, you don't need a new ISBN for that. But if you make any major changes, it'll be considered a new edition, and then you absolutely will need a new ISBN. If you're just a first-time author, a first-time publisher, and you just want to get your book out on Amazon, it's really okay to just use their Kindle free ISBN. It's not a big deal. Okay, if you want to save money, you're trying to do this as bare bones as possible. I get it. Every buck counts. Now for the publisher here, again, this doesn't have to be your company name. You can say whatever you want. You could be, Greystone Publishing, or you can just make up an imprint. It doesn't have to be a company that you own an LLC for, though. If you do own a publishing LLC, like mine is M. Dashery, and our publishing arm is M. Dashery Books, then put that in there. But otherwise, you can just make it up, or if you leave it out, I believe it'll just say Amazon Independent Publishing on your detail page. Okay, save and continue. Now, there were no errors in this file, so I can't troubleshoot an error you're having without, knowing what it is. And obviously my book has already passed all the QA things that it needs to. So if you have any specific errors, please let me know, and I am happy to take a look. I might already know what the answer is. There's a lot of sort of common ones that I'm going to keep trying to write blog posts on. But again, I'm just building this blog out, so it's going to be a minute. On the last page, KDP Select enrollment. KDP Select is giving exclusive rights to Amazon to sell your book. Now, there are reasons to do this, and there are reasons not to do it. If you want to publish your book on Apple, iBooks, Google Play Books, anything like that, then you don't want to do that. The good thing about Kindle only is that some people say it increases your ranking. Kindle, that Amazon favors books that are enrolled in KDP Select. I don't know what the verdict is on that, really. And they also offer free promos. So once in every 90-day period, you can set your book to $0 for 5 days. And you can run a lot of promotions during that time that'll really push up exposure. You can get your book on all these other sort of free book sites. There's a lot of aggregators of free books on Fiverr and other promotional things. And that free period can really help when you're first launching a book. But you don't have to do it. You can also do a 99-cent period when you first launch. So that's really a decision that's up to you and that you need to think about. If you're wondering what I do, I keep broad distribution on all of my titles. For my publishing company, I used to keep them on KDP Select for the 1 3-month period to do the free promo, and then after that transition them to broad distribution and start publishing them on Apple and Google Play, etc. That being said, books do not sell that much on those other sites compared to Amazon. The volume is just, they have probably 95% of the market. So there's that. Let's see how to add your ebook to Amazon. Okay. Now you can do all territories. There's really no reason to not, unless you just don't want your book in certain countries, but that doesn't hurt you or cost you anything to choose all territories. Again, as long as you have written this book and you hold the rights to it. If you're publishing summary guides, companion guides that are unofficial, then you can only publish in the US. Amazon.com is going to be the answer for most people. And then here is our royalty calculator, and you can put in a different price for everything. So $4.99 USD, now $4.99 British pounds is worth a lot more than $4.99 USD, but I've decided just to keep all of these at $4.99-ish, no matter what country they're in. Whereas, normally books in Canada sell for more. I prefer to keep the visual consistency there. But this is totally up to you. Amazon does not autofill these, so it's whatever you want. And they have this 35% royalty option, which you can do, which then does not include a delivery fee. But unless you're putting your book between 99 cents, if you want your book to be 99 cents to $2.99, then do the 70%, obviously, because you're going to make a lot more in royalties. And you need to pay attention to this delivery over here. The 35% royalty plan does not charge delivery fees. If your book is really large, that's something you probably need to fix. If you have a lot of images in there, they need to be properly resized so that they're not taking up so much space and compressed. And that's something, if you're seeing some exorbitant fees over here that are eating away at your royalties, then you probably need to adjust your ebook, which I'm happy to do. Send me a message about that. And then, why is this locked? People in the 70% royalty option are required to be in Kindle book lending, which means that someone else can, you can let someone borrow your book just like you would a physical book. So that is really it. Those are all the steps. There's a lot more sort of digging in to be done in terms of your book description, in terms of your categories, in terms of how to price your book. And these are all blog posts I'm hoping to get to, but I just wanted to start with the absolute basics. And as soon as you're done with that, you just hit publish. And it says 72 hours in my experience. Congratulations. In my experience, it's usually about 24 or less. So very exciting. We have just published our ebook. I'm going to take a quick break and then we will look at the paperback.